Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WPwatercooler episode number 129. Today we're talking about WordCamp San Diego 2015. We just finished that this weekend. Woo! We're going to go around the room here real quick and get everyone introduced. We're going to go in alphabetic order. We're going to start with Miss Chris. Chris, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Chris. I am the founder of Mind Blowing Things. I also work under Revelation Concept. It's like my personal portfolio. And I was one of many organizers for WordCamp San Diego. Woo, woo.
Woo, woo.
Nice. Organizer. Tell us about yourself, sir.
Sure, Chris Wiegman, developer for 10up and speaker for San Diego the other day.
Awesome. What about you, Devin?
Hey, Devin Walker, WordImpress.com, also a WordCamp San Diego organizer.
Nice.
Organize that, guys.
Russell, you there? Tell us about yourself. All right, we'll skip Russ for a little bit. How about you, Say? What's up? Tell us about yourself.
Hey, I'm Say, and I wasn't at WordCamp San Diego, but I was there in spirit and on Twitter.
Nice. Russ, did you come back?
Oh yeah, at Say Read Media on all the things, in case you can't read. You know, let's chat, let's tweet.
What about you, Steve?
Steve Zehngut. I am the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Boy, does he.
What about you, Suzette? Oh, she's muted.
She's frozen. What's going on, guys? We're breaking down.
She hasn't used this Hangout thing in a while, so. Suzette, can you hear us okay?
Suzette is awesome. She is freelancing. She's an instructor with Girl Develop It. She teaches stuff. She was a teacher at WordCamp San Diego. She loves WordPress and unicorns.
That was perfect.
There you
go. I know my girl.
Russ, tell us about yourself, sir.
I'm the developer of Gravity Styles. I spoke at WordCamp San Diego this weekend, and I loved it.
Awesome. I'm Jason
You don't have to
Tucker.
kiss the ass anymore. Chris is in here.
Jason Tucker on Twitter, and I blog over at WPmedia.pro. So, we got through the introduction. Awesome.
Wow, that was rough. Woo!
So let's talk a little bit about the venue first, real quick here about WordCamp San Diego. Who thought of the idea of doing this thing at a museum? I thought that was pretty genius.
We were talking about how that happened. So we were having a really hard time finding a venue because the camp was a little bigger this year. We couldn't use who they used in the past. And someone said something about Balboa Park, and then I think JJ actually mentioned the museum, and then I actually had a friend who worked there, so we got in contact with them and figured out it was going to be in our price range. So,
you know, Michael Bastos was the lead organizer, and we went to a startup weekend from Google like 2-3 years ago, and they did it at that event, and we thought it was really great. And you know, we didn't know if it was in our price range, and it ended up Chris knowing somebody there as well. So you know, we love that venue.
That's great. No, I thought that was a great setup because you guys were able to, you know, do the actual event there. You're able to have lunch there. You're able to have your after party there, and then everyone didn't have to leave. There was like almost no reason to leave that place at all.
Everybody was
commenting.
Scary. Everybody was commenting on how cool the venue was.
Yeah,
that was the big talk at WordCamp.
Awesome.
Dude,
it photographed very well too. In all the pictures, it's like, whoa, that place looks awesome.
Dude, I got to touch the Ryder Cup, and that was awesome. I didn't think I could ever do that at WordCamp.
What kind of museum was it?
I don't know if that was a real Ryder Cup or not.
The Hall of Champions, yeah.
Sports museum.
Which I thought was pretty cool because I was looking. I didn't go to the second.
As a museum.
And the second day, Nason was the one that was doing the keynote, if I remember correctly. And you can see a picture of him standing there, and right behind him it says Hall of Champions. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Chris Lemma set that up so all of his photos say Hall of Champions.
Probably.
So with the venue out of the way there, how did everything go? What did you guys hear kind of pros and cons, and what's something that you might do a little bit different next time around?
Well, definitely we had some internet issues, which I mean, I feel like every single camp I've ever been to, that's kind of just what happens. But if we do use that venue again next year, which we definitely are interested in doing, we're going to have to bring in some kind of like hotspot or something to sort that out. And then also some just sound conflict issues because like that awesome center court, which is really cool and photographed well and was nice and big, I mean, having the sponsors right next door, there was a lot of interference with like people, you know, just noise levels. But we're thinking maybe piping in some curtains and stuff might help if we do that next year. But other than those two things, nothing really major. I mean, it went really, really well.
Yeah, that was the only thing. It seemed like everything was really smooth. That was the only thing I noticed as well. I spent most of my days down where the track was off in the corner downstairs in the basement, and the internet was kind of non-existent down there. Yeah.
That was not anybody's favorite. So
you spent your time in the basement, Steve? Shocking. Shocking.
Yeah, you know, we tried to put up a couple barriers between the sponsor area and the main court, but the staff there took that down real quick. They were really worried about liability there, so that was kind of one of the issues we had to work around through many different parts of the organizing process.
But the nice thing about not having internet is people are then forced to pay attention to the talks.
Right.
Right.
I know you think
It's kind of a good thing.
It's like otherwise everyone's like kind of half there. I think it's good. There should be a WordCamp with no internet, and everyone would be like, "What is happening?"
WordCamp analog.
The desktop server was thinking maybe.
Genius. That's epic genius.
My laptop and stuff to WordCamps. I mean,
sponsored by desktop server. Sorry.
Yeah, no, desktop server, the one thing that they were having a little bit of an issue with, because they didn't have internet access, is, you know, they wanted to have people download a free copy of their software. So it's like, we're almost back to like handing out USB thumb drives again at WordCamp. So
we did a workshop and we actually did have the thumb drives and stuff.
Can we put on a floppy disk?
Ooh, that would work.
Floppy disk?
We have a 5 1/4.
I don't know what you're trying to imply there.
So there was a bunch of stuff going on during that event all at the same time. I mean, you had the social media thing that was going on there, if I remember right. They had a craft show that was going on right across the street, and then there was a podcasting event all happening like in that same weekend.
There was a puppet show too.
There was a puppet show.
Did you go to the podcasting event, Jason?
Is that what you're calling my session?
What was your session, Steve? What did you talk about? What the
are
hell
we
do you know?
Yeah, let's segue.
Are we segueing? I spoke on Saturday on a panel with Ben Fox and Scott Bollinger on making money with WordPress, and then I was the last speaker in our track on Sunday. I talked about how to collect money.
Money, man.
That's always everyone's favorite thing to do.
I can't say anything about Ben Fox. Oh,
they like searching for the collection. Yes.
Who else spoke? You spoke. What would you speak about, Suzette?
Who's you?
We did the theme word. I did the theme word camp with boot camp with AJ and Rich.
Nice.
They were awesome. Yeah, that was fun.
I did a great presentation on when to install a plugin and when not to install a plugin.
That should be required for beginners.
Well, I did one on vetting plugins, but it wasn't. I think Aaron installed the Thunder. It was pretty empty.
and I think Jason spoke as well.
Yeah. I kind of did an intro to the interface, WordPress interface, and kind of went through a whole bunch of stuff with that.
What do you mean by an intro to the WordPress interface?
Hey, so what it was like is he said, "This is the nav bar."
I actually did. I had a whole animated thing on how to use the nav bar on the left-hand side.
He did.
But just say I didn't have a...
You did a thing on the dashboard?
Yeah. I didn't have much guidance in what they wanted me to talk about.
This is how you click the mouse.
This is the interface. Start using it. Yeah, so it went okay.
This is a post type.
No, we didn't talk about post types because that's
not beginner.
That's an advanced topic.
Technical.
You know, on another topic, this is not related, but has anyone tried out Jetpack's testimonials? Because that shit's weird.
What? Is that new? Is that new?
Yeah, I did it in my talk, not at WordCamp San Diego, but on WordPress in Ventura. I did a whole thing talked about Jetpack a lot, and this new testimonials thing is whack sauce.
So on Saturday,
Anyway, not related.
on Saturday I bounced around from session to session, but on Sunday I was in the services track the whole time. I watched all of those speakers.
Nice.
All of the beginners were actually kind of mixed. Like, we had some beginners who used custom post types, and we had some beginners who were like brand new. It was really mixed, and that's what I liked about the beginner track.
Those are beginners. If you're using custom post types, you're not a beginner. You're a user.
But that's for them to decide, and they were in the beginner track the whole time, and they were loving like all the sessions.
Your face is a user.
All right.
Your mom's face.
Your mom is a user.
Were any of you guys involved in the selection process of who is going to be speaking?
Yeah, all the organizers were, and it was a really collaborative effort. I was in charge of the developer track, and along with Derek Springer, that was our track that we were responsible for choosing.
Yeah, and JJ and I did the design track. Michael did the beginner track, and I think JJ and JJ and Blonde did the admin track. So what we did, which was actually kind of different, is we decided based on like what track we were in charge of, what we actually wanted people to talk about. So in the speaker submission form, we had predefined topic headings, and then asked people if they would be willing to talk about those things. Because we kind of wanted the day to progress, like in the beginning with easier topics, and then get a little more advanced toward the end, whether it was about design development, whatever. And I had some comments from people who noticed it and said that they liked it, but I don't know. I think we'll ask for feedback from the attendees and see what they think about the way it was set up, and see if we want to do something like that again next time.
Well, as a speaker, it worked out great for me because I didn't have to explain to people how to install WordPress or what WordPress was. Those two things happened before before mine even happened. So it was great to be able to kind of just jump in and say, okay, guys, so here's how to log in and here's how to do some stuff. We've already done the 5-minute install.
That's often a problem. Russell and I have actually come up against that problem when we spoke in WordCamp Reno. We had very similar talks, and so we got there and we were like, wait, what are you talking about? Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, we're using the same analogies. But I think that's useful because a lot of the times, even if the talk description doesn't sound quite the same, the level is the same, and knowing what came before, what people already know, makes that so much easier to prepare the talk and to make the talk relevant. So when you don't know, you kind of are like, oh, should I also cover this thing, or like what you're saying. So I think that's great.
I want to speak right after Matt Cromwell every single time. Because Matt Cromwell literally served it and teed it up for me so perfect. I didn't have to do any of that. It was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, if that's the case, then I want to speak after Wes Churchill every time.
He's
No
awesome
doubt,
too.
Yeah.
You want that comparison on your head, huh?
He teed it up.
So how did sponsors go for you guys?
Teed it up.
Sponsors was the easiest thing. If you have Chris Lemo on your team, he snaps his fingers and people flock. So
That's awesome.
So Chris, you may want to talk to you may want to talk to, or Steve, you may want to talk to Chris.
Thank you.
And you know what? I noticed that a lot of WordCamps don't have a table for sponsors at the $1,000 sponsor level, $1,500 sponsor level, and I think that was a really good selling point. We were thinking personally about sponsoring some other events, and when we see that we don't get our own table and it's $1,000 still, it's kind of dissuades us a bit.
Yeah.
So at WordCamp OC, we've got a problem, and that's just space. So we've only got space for 3 tables.
So
Why
you have space
split
for
the
4
tables?
food trucks, but no table.
Oh, burn!
I'm in charge. Hey, I'm in charge of sponsorships. I can't comment on the food truck space.
Food trucks win.
No, I think the little sponsor row that you guys had set up was pretty awesome because
It was cool.
You came in, you got your food, and then boom, instantly all these people were sitting there ready to go.
And then
One
they
thing-
gave you swag.
And the food.
Yes, it was
Dude,
great.
the food was nuts.
Oh,
The food was flowing. I mean, there was food all day.
Yeah, we really wanted to make sure we had adequate snacks, so when we had a little bit of budget left over, I filled up 2 flatbeds at Costco, like 5 feet high.
There was like an
showed.
awesome selection.
It
man.
showed.
So $10,000 worth of snacks. I can.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
No
we had
wonder no one
soap
left.
operas, Rubios, donuts.
Yeah.
Chris Lima had the best tweet of WordCamp all. Like
Yeah.
he posted a picture and he was like, I have all the WordCamp donuts in my car. I'm not coming to WordCamp.
Nice.
Yeah, the donuts were a huge hit. I mean, I like snacks, so I figured.
When are donuts not a huge hit, really?
Yeah.
The one comment I heard from a few folks was that, you guys were handing out water bottles, actual, reusable water bottles, and then you guys were handing out little water bottles, and it was like, why isn't there a place to like fill these water bottles up? And I know that would be kind of a difficult thing, but it's like, how do you do that? Do you call it Sparklets and have them deliver for a day, or what?
Install a water fountain?
No, you just take the little water bottle and fill up the bigger one.
Oh my goodness, cross face balls. That's not even funny.
Somebody said that there was a water fountain downstairs by the bathrooms, but
Let people want to wash it out before,
Okay, so let's talk about all the good swag.
Oh my God,
was
right?
insane.
that
So
was
Did
just
sponsor
there's
swag? Was that from sponsor?
blanket.
This is just the WordCamp swag. I've got a whole table full of sponsor swag as well.
Right.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
swag.
sponsor
There was
swag,
swag
yeah.
everywhere. So here's a water bottle.
You guys got some money happening down
Here's
there.
a beach ball,
Here's the beach blanket.
right?
I don't know if you have
blanket.
that. And the
Frisbee.
frisbee.
Stickers,
Nice.
T-shirt. What else do I got?
Don't do it.
I have.
Oh wait, the big bag.
This was a Suzette. This was a speaker. This was a speaker gift. This was.
Oh, it was?
specific.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't show these. Don't show these
like
to anybody
they're
watching the water
secret.
cooler.
Is this what you don't want me to show? Okay.
Yeah. Don't
Just
show those.
checking.
Don't tell
Okay.
Nike.
He's like, here's my WordCamp yacht. Like they gave us a yacht.
So what other talks? Did you guys go to any talks, or did you hallway track that?
I went to one talk besides my own. I went to Natalie's talk, which was
We are no longer
fun.
objective reviewers. Let's just be honest. Everyone's
I
like,
went-
what talks?
I
There was
went to the
food
talks that I
and
never
swag.
go to, which is the designer track. I went to all the designer track stuff.
That's awesome.
Just to
Broadening your horizon.
just to see what the other side of the fence does.
The other half does.
I went to a couple, but I had so many donuts, it was like, I can't sit still anymore. Can't stay in here.
I really appreciated that there was like a speaker sponsor room off to the side, because like always, you want to prepare for your slides, and I really appreciated that when WordCamps do that.
What? You do your slides last minute? That's not.
I do them like 3 months in
That's not-
advance.
That's not acceptable.
I think it's weird when they have a speaker
the last
sponsor room.
Why?
It feels elitist to me.
Of course.
Maybe that's why I like it. No.
Why is that
Everyone's out
elitist?
in there, and no one goes and talks to the people, and it's like, I thought we were all supposed to be one, not have these levels, guys. Come on.
So
I can agree with that.
so
They're like, fuck.
we were sitting in the speaker sponsor room, and Dave Jesh was like worried about following Chris Lemma, and then he had to follow Pippin Williamson, which was
Oh my
like
goodness.
even worse.
Oh, it's
And
a
so-
rock star.
And so I went to Dave's talk, and after it, I said, "How did it feel going after both of them?" And he was like, "I hated that." He was like, "That was so tough to follow them." He had a
What did you
phenomenal
talk about?
talk.
What do you talk about?
So
Object-oriented programming.
And he blew everybody's mind with that one.
Well,
Yeah.
and I feel like he should be flattered that he was after them because it was in progression, so it means his talk was more technical.
say to help answer your question, there were 4 rooms. There were 4 tracks going on at the same time. So there was an upstairs room. There was the main room in the I don't know what you call that big room area. And there were 2 rooms downstairs, all separated off.
Wow.
No, one was a room and one was a dungeon. Let's be clear.
They put me in the dungeon. I didn't say
As
that.
in the dungeon.
So what were the tracks?
So there's
Designer.
admin, beginner, designer, developer.
Admin.
Admin.
That's a new one.
That was Saturday. Those are the Saturday tracks.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Saturday, but on Saturday, that's really interesting. I've never seen an admin track before. What were the topics?
Admin was more like user-based. So, like, if you own a business and you're running a WordPress site, but, you know, you're not really a beginner, you're not a developer or designer, you just are running a site on WordPress. It was kind of focused on those people.
Awesome. Those people are seriously underserved. I think that's super cool. I
why
think
is my WordPress website slow? Simple solutions for WordPress backups. What do you need to know about local SEO? You know, those types of things.
That's great. Those are great topics.
Yeah.
So,
good job, guys. Who's in charge of that track?
That was admin. So that was Mandy, who actually wasn't able to attend WordCamp. She had some family stuff, but she was the planner for that with Falon.
Nice.
Props to them.
The guy from SiteGround, Histro, he went on first, and he has such a little voice, so he was talking, he's like, okay, here's what you do, and the girl upstairs in the developer room was like, wah, 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 and just dragged it out the whole time.
Yeah. Well, those were some of the issues that started to become pretty apparent. It's a big echoey space, obviously, because it's a museum. So if we do that many talks or that many sessions next year, we definitely need to bring in like lots of curtains and sound barrier type things.
That was the only problem with the dungeon, was that we got the sound from the space upstairs. It was the only one that had a sound issue.
I've never seen...
From now on, it will be referred to as the dungeon.
I think, though, the developers were also having a sound issue because they were right in the middle, and there were people, especially through a couple of like the morning sessions, people were like super excited and they had their coffee and like would not stop talking over by the sponsors, like really loud. So it calmed down a little later, but we started turning the mic up to get over their noise interference, which was making more noise interference in the dungeon.
Yeah.
So we got about 10 minutes
left. Next year.
Let's talk about Sunday.
Okay. I was just going to say real quick that next year we talked about that center court area not having any tracks at all, but having, you know, openings, remarks, closing remarks, and it would be just kind of the, you know, work area, network area, and maybe put the happiness bar towards the bridge over to it. That might work out a little better for the acoustics.
Yeah.
I think it's important to think about stuff like that. I think you know, when planning WordCamps in general, not just for San Diego, but thinking about acoustics, thinking about the fact that people are going to gather and talk, and, you know, if that interferes with what's going on, I think it's easy to forget about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, so I'm glad you guys had that experience.
Yeah, but I'm so glad we didn't have anything up where the speaker sponsor lounge was, because it was so hot in there. Could you imagine, like, the developer track in that room?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
typically was an issue, too. It was kind of a hot weekend, and we were turning it up, turning it down. Attendees would come up and be like, it's too hot, it's too cold, and it was hard to please everyone, you know? And it's such
You're
a big
kind
space.
of a hot weekend.
Thank you.
It was
getting Steve jealous.
It was pretty stuffy at the speaker sponsor dinner.
Stuffy like stuck
A
up?
little.
It was a little stuffy there. Not unbearable, but the food at the speaker sponsor dinner also was.
I've heard
awesome.
that description applied to some people.
Was that at
Stuffy,
the same?
not
was that the same
unbearable.
place?
I wasn't talking about the people. I was talking about the weather.
No, the speaker sponsor dinner was at Co-Merge downtown.
Yeah, that's a cool spot though.
It was awesome.
So what about Sunday?
Happened on Sunday?
I wasn't there, so how did that all go?
What, the speaker sponsor dinner?
No, Sunday schedule.
Oh,
Sunday.
2 business tracks, which were really popular.
Yeah.
And then Devin headed up planning a developer boot camp with Derek and got Euron and Matt Cromwell to do that. And it was kind of like just the whole day talking about building a plugin, pretty much. And then we did the same thing upstairs with the design track, doing theme development. So teaching them how to take like a static website and move it over into like a custom WordPress theme.
Dope.
Wow, Suzette, that was many hours, wasn't it?
It was.
That's involved. That's like your favorite thing to do.
It could have been like so much longer though. I mean, you really just need like a lot of time for that.
That's what I kept hearing, but I also heard a lot of positive remarks, like you kind of planted that curiosity seed or whatever, and like they're gonna go out and they're gonna learn more because of that.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like he just said, like you gave, at least now they know like where they need to start, you know. Because in the beginning, that's something that I was like, how do I even begin? Like, back then there wasn't a lot of good tutorials and things. At least now they know, like, what terms to search, and they have notes, and they have your slides. Like, I think it's going to be really invaluable for the people who sat in on those things.
Was that filmed? Is that going to be on WordPress TV?
Yeah,
ours was kind of hard to film, though, I thought, just because it was really hands-on. And it's hard to capture that when you're, when you're doing the taping for WordCamp.
Yeah, they're a little picky too on the quality.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of people at the conference that I was at approached me afterwards. I always distinguish between a power user and a web dev. And I had, I was like encouraging, it's mostly women at the conference, I was like, if you are interested in this at all, talk to me and let's talk about getting you to actually be able to do that stuff. And I had a couple people come up and talk to me about just exactly that, like making the jump from being a user to, they're designers, they're interested in that, and then they're like, but I don't know how to get from here to here. So I think your talk sounds like that's exactly what they need, so I need that on camera.
So I know we've only got a couple of minutes here, but the last thing I wanted to say was that the attendees were awesome at this conference. I found that anybody I wanted to talk to or wanted to network there with seemed to be there at the WordCamp San Diego. Like all except for Sam, of course. But seriously, all the heavy hitters were there, and I had people that I've been waiting to have conversations with for a long time that came up to me and said, "Hey, it's Steve." And, it was cool. And so
they're like, "Hey, who the hell are you?"
Yeah, hey, Steve, and then they just kept going. I was like, "Oh, not me, Steve. That's Steve." Okay, that's cool.
So you're taking drink orders, is what you're saying.
Yeah. No, actually, no. It was very well attended and a lot of heavy hitters there. So.
In hindsight too, we had the WordCamp on the same weekend as Seattle and Atlanta, two major cities. That's true. And we didn't really want it that way, and hopefully next year we can kind of have our own weekend because we don't want to take away from other WordCamps, and we don't want them to take away from us. So there's so many weekends we can have it, and hopefully next year we'll have a little less conflict there because some people had to go to choose.
Yeah.
Stop trying to schedule it around when I'm not available. That is your first tip, okay?
Right. Make sure you check with Safe first.
Check with me,
anything.
and then make the schedule because it's been like freaking 4 years and I haven't been able to go.
But I will say, looking at people's Instagrams and stuff, you saw that people actually did go down to the beach and were like, "Yes, there's actually like great weather here. This is awesome."
The weather was beautiful.
you can go to Seattle if you want. That's fine.
Go for it. Have fun.
I was swimming in the ocean on Coronado Island, and I was just like, "You guys in Atlanta are suckers."
There was actually, I was watching the Twitters, and there was, like you were saying, there was a lot of extracurricular stuff being posted as well.
Oh, yeah.
Another quick tip about Twitter, too, is make sure the hashtag is solid because some people were saying 2015, some people were saying WC15, and
yeah, that needs to be posted up everywhere. Like, you need to post that up. They need to be pieces of paper with
what was the official hashtag?
I mean, there really wasn't. It was printed incorrectly. We put it on the website one way, so that's one thing we would need to do.
Was it printed as WCOC?
It was printed as WCSD, and then it was on the website as WCSD 15, so it was like, oh, shoot.
Well, people will figure it out. It just makes it hard for David Bissett and his tracker thingy.
You guys did a fantastic job.
You did.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. I wasn't even there, but great job.
Thanks to the speakers, sponsors, and of course attendees.
Yep.
Totally.
Let's check my schedule next year.
That's about it. It's 11:30. I want to let you know you can go over to our website, WPwatercooler.com, and check that out there. You can also click on any of the links there in our show notes that lead you over to the various topics and stuff that happened. I'd imagine the videos at some point will get posted onto WordPress TV, so you can check those out too. If you want to only listen to us, you can listen to us on iTunes.
I would recommend that.
Also on Stitcher.
You want to see his face?
There's quite a few different places that you can listen to us to, as well as to download it off of YouTube and stuff. So thank you very much for being on the show.
You don't get all the
Catch y'all
faces
later.
though.
Bye.
Thank you.